What's up, everybody? It's Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is January 17th, 2025, and the market sucked today. Not for me, though. For a lot of people who didn't accept the fact that the chart was pure ass and they continued to try and trade and just gave away all the money that we made on our first trade. You know who you are, and there's a bunch of you out there today because you're still trying to trade a chart that's not worth trading. Did some folks make some money by waiting, and holding on to trades that took forever to materialize? Sure, it's possible. But ever since our opening trade, the number of red traders on the day is steadily increasing, and you have to wonder why. And when I have the conversations with the people who admit that they are continuing to try and trade, they admit to me that they don't like the chart that they're trading. Now, I have to know, are you still trading it because you don't like that you're not winning on a chart that's not really tradable? Or what's the deal? Because you're paying me to help you stop making these stupid mistakes. And they are stupid mistakes, and we do make them all the time as traders. But you've got to know when to walk away. At this point, you all, especially the people in my community, you see how little I take more than one trade per day at this point. It's because the more trades you take, the more likely you are to start going in the opposite direction that you're hoping you're going to go. Very few people can trade all day long and get more and more profitable as that day goes on. It usually works the other way around. I need you to believe that. And if you don't want to believe me, look at how many times you've done it to yourself. For God's sakes, we've been talking about how shitty this chart has been since literally 10 minutes after we got out of our trades. And it hasn't really gotten any better for the rest of the day. But with that said, you got to learn from your mistakes or you're going to be doomed to repeat them. All right. You're going to keep repeating them and you're going to run out of money. And when you run out of money, trading is no longer possible. And it's certainly not fun while you're running out of money. But I'm going to show you guys what we were looking at and why we took what we took and how I chickened out and robbed myself of a bunch of extra money. I'm going to let you guys listen to the live recording. But the short version is I was all ready for calls. I think on the second candle of the day at 9:31, you'll hear me say I'm switching to puts. And then I further say if SPY pulls back to this line of resistance here, I'm going to go ahead and take my puts. And where my profit target was right down here at this blue line where this white circle is. Now, I'm showing you this because this is also the low of day for today. So if you don't believe that support and resistance is a real thing, I'm here to tell you if they're good, usable targets. Now, what I didn't do today, and by the way, we also were looking for Qs to come down here and hit this support level. We had an alert here, which it did touch at 9:44, the same exact time SPY touched its profit target. I want you to know, I ended up stopping myself out on this candle here at 9:39 because the Qs were getting closer to their support level. I was a little premature on that. I ended up stopping out of this trade for a 26.4% win, only to watch it get up to just over 40%. So had I just traded my plan, which was Qs down to this support or SPY down to this support, I would have made a lot more money. I am very happy with the money I made on this trade. It felt pretty damn comfortable. ADD was on our side. Qs was definitely on our side. And SPY did what we hoped it would do, right? So we got below support and we wanted to keep going down to the next support. It took a longer time to get there than I would have hoped, but you'll listen to the entire trade. Even after I got out, I tried to help walk people who stayed in all the way down to the line. All right. So the people who did hold on because you trusted the process, congratulations. You squeezed another 15 to 20% of profit out of that trade than I did. And Good for you. There's nothing else on this chart that I felt comfortable trading. Why? Because for the most part, Qs was pinned below a very strong resistance. Once it got above that resistance, it still stayed pretty flat. ADD was oftentimes going in the opposite direction as the Qs. Nothing was lining up today. Now, some people are going to look at this and say, oh, look at this massive run up. Guys, don't lie to yourselves. If you felt comfortable holding through the chart today, good for you. I wish I had your stoicness. I don't. Nothing on this chart today felt good to me other than the trade that I took. Okay, I liked what the Qs were doing at the open. I liked what ADD was doing at the open. The only thing that made that feel naturally uncomfortable to me was how green everything else was. I mean, we moved up big in pre-market. I don't know why. That bothered me a little bit, but the reason why shouldn't matter. But what I want you to listen to when you watch this video is how I went from wanting calls, justifying all the reasons why, to when I switched to puts, even telling you where I'm going to buy those puts, and then expecting it to go to a specific level. Just like every other one that I've recorded and put up here for you guys. This is the only trade I took for the day, and I wish it was the only trade most of the people in our community took today too. But you can't just have that, right? And we're going to save that for another talk that we'll have on another day, which I think I want to make a Martin Luther King video for Monday, even though the market's closed. I'm going to have some talking points to go over as a reminder. But you guys go ahead and enjoy this clip. Thanks for watching. I'll see you when it's over. All right, guys. Well, it is 9:25 and it's that time. It's called put time. And, well, the market has been on quite the tear, and I'm not really sure why. I don't like not knowing why. If it was for good reason, then I'd feel much better about calls. But we're going to try to ignore all of that for now because, well, we shouldn't worry about that kind of stuff when it comes to reading a chart, right? How many times have we stayed out of calls because the move had already happened or what we thought had already happened, and it just keeps going up? Speculation has it could be due to inauguration because most inauguration days are very green, but the market's not going to be open on Monday for inauguration day. So maybe it's making its move now. I don't know. But let's get into the put scenario. I'm going to say for the put scenario, I would like to see SPY below this pre-market high line. Now, I think that that's good because it's not right at where we're at, but we do have a little tiny support that we're making here at 596.57. Problem is you've got another one between there in the blue line at 596.46. Now, with that said, there's not enough room there to be making any money. We are putting in lower highs, so it's not never mind. It's not unrealistic to believe that it's possible we get down to one of these supports and still holds before it bounces and goes back up. I am not looking to aggressively take puts unless this downtrend continues and unless we can get below that line. To the upside, I have to wait for a break or preferably a close. Consider it what's the word I'm looking for? Conservative. Consider it more conservative to wait for a candle close. Now, if the market keeps doing what it's been doing all morning, this call line is going to get breached before the market opens and maybe even make it to our next target. But in either case, if we got into puts because we got below this line of support here, the only support down from there is our pre-market low line. That would be my original hope, that we can get from that line all the way down there. That would be fantastic. And for SPY, if you do take above the call line, the minimum we're looking for obviously is about that 30-cent move to 597.41. You don't want Qs, as always, sitting at a resistance for the Qs because it keeps moving up. I'm going to have to say that we're going to want to get above that line of support there and below this line of support here. So the put scenario, 521.65 on the Qs, call scenario, 523.60. And the next resistance up on the Qs, as actual support resistance is all the way up at 525.67. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, or it could just keep going. Guys, I almost want to yeet into calls. It feels so not okay. But I mean, the ideal situation would be wait for a pullback. On both charts. That would be the reasonable expectation. ADD is going to open very green. Okay, so I'm not worried about that. Whether it opens green and starts printing green, that's a whole different story. Ideally, you don't really want to buy calls right at the open, simply because if it hits a resistance that comes back, you're going to be buying literally the most expensive price in all the things. It's better to wait for some sort of a pullback to a support level, whether it's old resistance. So in this case, on SPY, it would be this dotted orange line. Or on Qs, it would be the dotted orange line. On SPY, it would be somewhere, you know, down here. But just be patient if you need to. The market's extremely happy, guys. There's not much more to say about it than that. So I'm going to be prepared for calls simply because, well, it's looking very call-like at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see. Oh, I guess we got to go multi-chart here. Nope. We'll see what happens here. Qs are pulling back. Let's see if they can hit support. Where did ADD open? ADD opened at 1566, trying to print green. Let's see if the Qs could hit this support level here. Now ADD's printing red, so I don't buy pullbacks to support on a red ADD candle. This would be a decent spot to do it. If you don't care about ADD, those are support levels on SPY and on Qs. You'd be hoping for this move to continue back up to, on the Qs, 523.61, and on SPY as high as 597.75. I don't like red. Okay, I don't like the red on the ADD. That support is trying to hold on both charts. Chihuahua, things are pricey. I guess I've seen them worse though. Nvidia is pulling back pretty good, by the way. Rolling over to puts. Okay. There's a lot of selling going on. We haven't cleared that put line on the Qs. Are trying to do it right now. SPY is still holding that level there. Qs are getting heavy. If SPY was nearer the resistance up there, I might take it. Qs, just be patient though. Be patient. Be patient. Qs are trying. They're holding that pre-market high line of support at the moment. I think I'm going to, if SPY gets up here to this line, I'm going to take my puts. I'm hoping Qs break support. I'm hoping ADD keeps printing. Wow, what the hell just happened on ADD? Look at that gap down. If the Qs get a close below their pre-market high line, I'd like to see them get down to their pre-market mid. And I'd like to see SPY stay below max 597.41. That ADD gap was crazy. Qs are trying to put some pressure on that support line. Nvidia is starting to found support and it's trying to buy up. Q's still trying to come down. ADD. Let's see if ADD can start printing some reds. Qs are holding that support like it's nobody's business. Qs are holding support like it's nobody's business. Super strong support on the Qs. It's trying to push through it. It's struggling to do so. You got resistance on SPY, trying to hold. We'd hope that the SPY can get all the way down to that pre-market low line. But ADD is not helping at the moment. Qs are trying to do their best. And if you get yourself into profit, you're hoping for, you could start putting in a trailing stop now, that's for sure. Hopefully the Qs can pull us down. Hopefully ADD can help us out. Start trailing it now. If you guys got in up there at that resistance, like I did, you're already in profit. You might be in enough to be happy with what you've got. That's up to you. Don't let it tear your face off. Hope the Qs break this next support. Hope ADD keeps printing red. The next support down, if the SPY gets below this line, is all the way down at our pre-market low line down there, guys. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Start trailing it. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Qs are on that support. ADD is pulling down. If the Qs get through this pre-market midline, the next line down on the Qs is actually all the way down at 519.39. But again, trail it, because if you got in at the pullback, you're in a much more comfortable situation than somebody who's trying to get in now. Okay? You got 20% on that one, Hunter? Qs are trying to hold support. Bumping up against what was old support turned resistance. Line to line is the way. Valvrave, you made your money. Gassner, you made your money. Santos, 6% on the account. Good stuff. Good stuff. Those quick work days are always nice, aren't they? Those quick 12%. Good job, Monkey Fester. 17%. Tiger. ADD is no longer printing red. It seems to have tried to find a support now. It hasn't rotated to the upside. Good job, Gassner. 16.5%. It's not made its rotation up yet, ADD. Qs, they're at resistance right now, and I'm saying that because it's right here if you look. Okay, it's right here. If the Qs get above that level of resistance, you should expect it to potentially run all the way back up to 5, we'll call it 523 because it's a whole number. You'd want ADD to continue red, and you'd want Qs to break below with the candle close below this pre-market midline. If that happens, like I said, the Qs next support down from there on the Qs is all the way down at this 519.36 level. So you've got support here from pre-market. If we close below that on the Qs, the next support down is 519.39. 519.39. Okay, you've got a nice resistance level up here on SPY. So right now, you're just hoping for a continuation of the downtrend that exists on these charts. You're hoping for a close below support on these charts, and you're hoping ADD doesn't start printing big green candles and instead either stays flat or starts to print red candles. Hunter, I think I'm done for the day. Just going to listen. Today is Friday after a long weekend, and these movements are really sketchy. Yeah, they are. And again, if you're still holding on to puts, you're back on this support on both charts. You can consider taking your profits there. Good job, California Chris, 15%. If we get a close below this blue line on SPY, the next SPY support is all the way down at the pre-market low. And the next Q support is all the way down here. So the sellers are trying. We don't know if they're going to be successful. I mean, they're looking pretty aggressive on the Qs chart, but they haven't yet closed below that level. Now, ADD is starting to print a green candle, so that's going to kind of counteract a little bit what Q's is trying to do. It's going to hold SPY, from falling as quickly as the Q's might. But trail it, guys. If you didn't take yourself out of the trade the first time we were down here and you're uncomfortable holding on to this, then trail your stop. ADD is starting to print a big green candle, which is always going to make its movement slower than the Q's, right? So at this point, we're hoping the Q's closes below that pre-market midline, and then we're hoping that it gets down to the next line. So it did close below that support. Let's see if that allows the Q's to continue down to the next support, which is 519.39. If that happens and ADD slows its roll, we should start to move down on SPY. All right, so if the Q's hits that line of support and SPY is not made it down to their blue line, I would certainly tighten up my stop significantly. Mine's already in place at this point. I'm hoping the Q's get down there, but if I get stopped out, it'll be out of my hands because I'm not touching the trade anymore. In fact, it probably already did. As a matter of fact, it did. So for me, I wanted to hang on. I'm in very, very good profits on this down here. I'm hoping the Q's ultimately make it down to this alert because if they do, SPY is probably going to come very, very close to its next support, which is this blue pre-market low line. So if you're holding on, hope that the Q's keep coming down. Hope that ADD doesn't start printing big green candles, and you should get much closer to this line of support down here than we currently are. But it all revolves around what Q's do and what ADD does. So if the Q's do hit that level of support, their next one down is going to be the pink line is the stink line, and that is something that you wouldn't want to hold through anyway, in my opinion. But let's just see. Let's see if the trade ends up playing out, or if playing out meaning does it make it to the line we hoped it would, which on the Q's, again, it's looking more like the Q's are going to do it, but SPY is not falling at the same rate the Q's are because look at what ADD is doing. So small caps are being bought up, which is currently preventing SPY from doing what the Q's are trying to make it do. Good job, Rilo. 10% on the account this morning. Good job. I'm just waiting to see if the Q's actually come down to that support level. I mean, they're trying. I mean, if ADD was not printing big green candles, SPY would also be much closer to that pre-market low line. I just want to hear the beep. Let's see if Steven can make the Q's get down to 519.39. And again, I know I have a lot of people in here that are trading the Q's. That should have been one hell of a play. I mean, we got into this trade up here at the top of the candle at 931. So if you're trading Q's, you got quite the move to the downside. If you're still holding on to your SPY puts, it's starting to get uncomfortable, obviously, right? So the Q's, this is the trades that I've done 3 times this week where I'm saying, man, I'm staying in only because of the Q's. I hope ADD slows down. I'm not in this anymore because I'm trying to learn my lesson from the last 3 days this week that I uncomfortably held through because of the Q's. But you want the Q's to stay below 590.55, this pre-market midline, in hopes that they continue down to their next support, which is 519.39. If the Q's do close above this pre-market midline, they're more likely to head up to 521.38. And well, let's just see if it plays out. Let's just see if it plays out. ADD is now starting to print some red instead of big green candles. Q's staying below resistance. Let's see if the Q's get down and hit that beep, and let's see if it brings SPY any closer to what we were hoping to get out of that trade. Now, the reason I started to implement a trailing stop on that, guys, is because Q's was coming down closer to their support line. ADD was printing bigger green candles, which was making me slightly uncomfortable. But if you're not paying attention to those things and then you're just watching levels, we are still putting in lower highs on Qs and SPY. And we're hoping to just get down to the next level of support on both charts. Now, I may regret stopping myself out of this trade at 939. It would have been a little uncomfortable at this point, but I'm curious to see if Qs and SPY do what we think that they're likely to do based on probabilities. Okay? And the Qs are about to hit that level. So if you hear a beep, then that's the Qs getting to where we wanted them to. And you see, there it is right there. And look at what happened as soon as we touched it on the Qs. Now, why is that level important? Because look right here. That's the last time we tried to move lower, we bounced off of it and went up. Do the sellers hold this? I mean, beat this? It looks like they're trying. ADD is on your side, and SPY just hit exactly where we wanted to go there. So for anybody who held from entry to exit, congratulations, you absolutely crushed it. All right, well, there you have it, folks. The entire trade, 5 minutes before open, what we were looking for, how things can change quickly, when they do change, how we roll out and take advantage of the trade plan that we put forth, and hopefully it works out and we make money. Today, again, was another day that we made money. So I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, well, we'd love to have you. The links are down below. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your long weekend. We are closed on Monday because the market's closed. And enjoy your time with your family and friends and just relax, okay? So until Tuesday, I love you guys.